Good morning and welcome to a beautifully sunny Red Bull Ring, the home of the Austrian Grand Prix. We are here in the Styrian Mountains of Austria, ready for the first race, weekend number 2 of the Fanatec GT2 European Series. 2 races this weekend after free practice and qualifying yesterday, Friday. Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon will be the 2 50-minute encounters in these 2 driver races, predominantly 2 drivers at least. There is no actual regulation that says you have to share your car with anybody, and as a result we have almost everybody on the grid sharing cars. Jan Krabek, though, the Czech driver, will be driving solo in his RTR Projects KTM Crossbow, and as befits the local manufacturer, plenty of KTM interest in the field. 3 orange and black machines and RTR, the car you can see 4th in the queue there, that black car with the white stripe, another of the KTM GT2 cars. So from the original open top Crossbow road car have sprung racers with their closed cockpits, GT4, GT3, GT2 cars now, joined by a host of Audis, a couple of Mercedes and a couple of Porsches as well. And our field is split by driver license groupings, so all bronze lineups in the AM class and bronze and another, so silvers predominantly, and a gold driver in the Pro-Am class. So both groups will be battling each other for overall supremacy and as well for their class rewards. And after the season opener in Monza, it is Henry Hassid and Anthony Beltoise who are the points leaders in the Pro-Am Drivers' Cup, and Jan Krabek, who is the solo leader in the AM category. Krabek finished in 2nd place overall in race 1 in Monza a few weeks ago, and then finished on the podium again in 3rd place in race 2. So he has the AM advantage, and the AM cars and the Pro-Am cars are the same spec, but the drivers with different grades. So the field coming round in 2x2 formation for this final formation lap. Safety car pulls off between corners 9, the Rindt curve, and corner 10. And pacing the field from pole position is Henry Hassid in the black and gold Audi. Alongside him, Nicolas Salens in the first of the black and orange KTMs. There are 3 of them in the field. And away we go. The clock starts to count down as we go green from 50 minutes. So Henry Hassid with the KTM in either mirror, Klaus Angerer and Nicolas Salens in the 2 orange and black machines, and the spin. And that is Klaus Angerhofer. Angerhofer with the orange roof on his car. The 3 cars are distinguished. One's got an orange roof, one's got a black roof, and the car of Nicolas Salens, black and orange, looking up the inside into turn 3. And running out wide is Henry Hassid, the pole man. Well, they'll let him get away with that on the first lap. Don't try and take advantage by running wide out there, as they sweep now down the hill towards the big braking area. Big stop at turn 4, and again down the inside, change of lead as Nicolas Salens takes the lead in the first of the KTMs. The turquoise and silver Mercedes in 3rd place is Jörg Wiebahn. He's come up from 5th on the grid, so good start for Jörg Wiebahn. Plenty of experience in GT racing in powerful cars. And the yellow and black machine in 4th place, that's car number 1, Peter Gerlinks. There's the 2nd of the Mercedes, the white and blue car, that's Mauro Ricci. 2 family members of the Ricci family sharing that car. And as they crest the rise, sweeping down towards the end of the lap, they're getting round in about 90 seconds in qualifying. It'll be about 1 minute 35, a lap out wide goes the Mercedes of Jörg Wiebahn. Just hangs on to 3rd place though at the end of lap 1. And a little break back to the blue and white Mercedes of Mauro Ricci in 5th place. So the lead quartet have got away, and Klaus Angerhofer and Jan Krabek, the AM leader in the 89 RTR Racing KTM Crossbow, have yet to make it to the line. Leaders already climbing the rise up to turn 3. There's tight right-handed hairpin, and RTR's Jan Krabak is in the pit lane, so the AM points leader. Now, with these KTMs, the driver's canopy lifts up forwards to allow ingress. It doesn't have separate doors, but also on the grid, Jan Krabek's rear engine cover was lifted, so there was clearly some concern from the RTR Projects team about the car. He is in the pit lane. Klaus Angerhofer has completed his first lap, but 13 seconds slower than the leader, so he is some way back. 6 seconds off the tail of the field, Michael Doppelmayr. There's the number 7 Mercedes, Jörg Wiebahn, currently in 3rd position. And he is our best AM class driver at the moment, with Peter Gerlings behind him, also in the Pro-Am field in his Audi, the black and yellow car. So the lead quartet, Nicholas Salens and Henry Hassid, the pole sitter behind him. Hassid with a better sector 2 on this lap. And as they come sweeping down the hill and climbing back up again, there is the points leader in Pro-Am, Henry Hassid. Challenge for 3rd place, Jörg Wiebahn under pressure from the black and yellow Audi of Peter Gerlings. He's looking to go the long way round the outside from turn 2 up the hill to turn 3. It's a long, long run out of turn 1, but he decides that discretion is the better part of valor. Maybe later on in the stint or later on in the race he might try that. This time it didn't quite have the overlap. Well, there is the RTR Projects KTM. The laptop is plugged in. And True Racing helping with the running of that car for Jan Krabak, but it does not look good, does it? Not sure he's going to be taking much more part in this morning's race. Several hours between the two races. This afternoon's get underway at 2:30 local time. It's now only 9:30 here in Styria, so hopefully he will have a chance to get back out and score points in race 2. But for the moment, it looks like Jan Krabak is likely to be under threat for the points lead in the AM class. The only problem for the man who's second, Klaus Angerhofer, is that spin at the first turn. So Angerhofer in his KTM needs to work his way back up the field in a hurry. Let's take a look again at the battle for 3rd place as they stream across the line. Jörg Wiebahn ahead of Peter Gerlings by just 0.4 of a second. And there are the leaders, Nicholas Salens and Henry Hassid. In the overall point standings, Anthony Beltoise and Henri Hassid have the lead from Peter Gerlings and Steinis Longen. So Henry Hassid can afford to bide his time in the black and gold Audi. Saw the KTM run up over the curbs there. That'll cost a little bit of traction. As they sweep down the hill again, look behind Jörg Wiebahn in 3rd place in that silver and turquoise Mercedes. Under pressure. Peter Gerlings, car number 1, the defending champion. Last year's champions have split. They are not racing together. So Peter Gerlings in the number 1 Audi. Tight battle for the lead, tight battle for 3rd place. Gerlings in the yellow Audi, running a slight risk of being caught by the 5th place car of Mauro Ricci. Nicolas Gomar in the first of the 2 Porsches. He's in 6th position and 2nd in the AM class with Lithuania's Aurelius Reistika. He is in 3rd in the AM class, not too far behind. The field starting to stretch out a little after a handful of laps. Nicholas Salens and Henry Hassid, and then Jörg Wiebahn and Peter Gerlings. And the Wiebahn-Gerlings battle for 3rd is the tighter of the 2. At the moment, Henry Hassid looks content to follow in the wheel tracks of race leader Nicholas Salens. Little battle further back. You saw the Porsche of Aurelius Reistika with Hubert Trunkenpolz and Stefan Rattel behind him. So that's Porsche, KTM, Audi. That is the battle for 7th. Nicholas Salens and Henry Hassid. Hassid just dropping back a little, maybe getting some slightly higher temperatures than he wants, but the battle for third is shortly to be a three-way battle. Now that's good news for Jan Krabek, at least hopefully so. They're sending him back out on track. Not sure what the issue with the car was. Didn't really get much of a listen to it at the start of the race. He chugged round and came into the pit lane. So whether it was a misfire or a dodgy sensor, a temperature reading, not sure. Nicholas Salens and Henry Hassid pulling away now from the battle for third. It is a three-way squabble with two Mercedes. There is Jörg Wiebahn, silver and turquoise behind him, Peter Gerlings, and behind him Mauro Ricci. And Ricci closing in fast now. He's reeling the duo in. His last lap a 31.9. They were doing 32.5s and 32.6s as they sized each other up. So the man in the white and blue, or blue and white Mercedes, on the tail of this trio, well, he is coming up with a little bit more pace, but he needs to use it immediately, otherwise he is going to be slowed down by them, and that is not a good place to catch them. He'll try and have a good run out of turn 3. Can he get a chance to have a run at them down to turn 4? Well, Jörg Wiebahn has eased away now from Peter Gerlings. And down the inside comes the Mercedes. That's what he had to do. He had to come with greater speed. Just caught them about right at the hairpin. Didn't get held up by Peter Gerlings. And he goes by. He's up to 4th place. Jörg Wiebahn, though, seems to have found a little bit of extra speed as he's been released. But Wiebahn, with the blue Mercedes closing in of Mauro Ricci. And pit caller again, Jan Krabek, so it was not good news for the RTR KTM. I sense that they'd sent him out just to see if that made any difference, and the fact that he's come back in suggests that, no, it didn't make any difference. Peter Gerlings in the yellow Audi. Seems to be a better follower than defender, and the RTR KTM qualified 4th on the grid, and 2nd in AM. But Jan Krabek, that is not going to work well. So in terms of the championship standings, his good news is that Klaus Angerhofer spun at the start and is down in 5th place in the AM class. But he is likely to outscore the AM class points leader. Mercedes rides the curb of Mauro Ricci. And he's still got a little bit more speed than Jörg Wiebahn. Mauro Ricci, 132.4, 132.7 last time round for the number 7 Mercedes. So Mauro Ricci with a little bit more pace. Looks as though Henry Hassid has found a little bit more pace than Nicholas Salens as well. Hassid with the fastest race lap so far in 2nd place. So we may yet see a challenge for the lead and for 3rd at the same time. There's the 911 Porsche of Nicholas Gomar. He's 2nd in the AM category. He's eased away from Aurelius Rustica of Lithuania. So that's 5th and 6th. There's the HRT racing team. They're running, Halp Racing running Jörg Wiebahn, who shares with Mario Placuta. These guys are new to the series this season, or this weekend even. Here we go. The Audi is trying to retake 4th place. Mauro Ricci well, he does not manage to squeeze by. So Peter Gerlings stays where he is behind Mauro Ricci, and Jörg Wiebahn finding a little bit more pace as well on the last lap, 132.2, the best lap of the race for the number 7 Mercedes in 3rd place, and that's just allowed him to creep away a little from the battle between Mauro Ricci and Peter Gerlings. Mandatory pit stops in the race will come between minute 20 and minute 29. So P4 4. That'll be in AM for the number 16 car of Klaus Angerhofer. He's now moved up to 8th overall, ahead of Pro-Am drivers Hubert Trunkenpolz and Stefan Rattel. So that's good news for Angerhofer, who lies second in the AM class points, with Jan Krabek hobbled at the moment. I'm not sure Krabek is going to be classified as a finisher at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how that transpires. Here's our leaders. Nicholas Salens again ahead of Henry Hasid. Jörg Wiebahn, Mauro Ricci and Peter Gerlinks. The battle for the final podium spot. And Jörg Wiebahn leading the AM class. Nicholas Salens, the race leader for True Racing in the KTM Crossbow. He's under real pressure, though, from Henry Hasid. Henry Hasid now with the fastest race lap, a 1:31.5. So 5:94 was nearly 0.3 of a second quicker than Nicholas Salens, and closes right in again. He's looking to pounce, isn't he? 36 minutes remaining. So when we get down to 30 minutes remaining, that will be 20 minutes into the race, and the pit stop window will open. There are longer pit stops than the mandatory timed minimum for some of our competitors, based on their results from the previous race. So the top 3 in the previous race, not races, but race, will have longer pit stops. And that is in addition to the balance of performance that balances the car's potential. There is also a success handicap, if you like. If you win the race, you spend longer in the pit lane. In the next one, contact from behind. Henry Hasid runs into the back of Nicholas Salens, and the leader has been turned around. There goes the third place car of Jörg Wiebahn. So Wiebahn up to second, down to third goes Nicholas Salens. But you can imagine that the stewards may take a slightly dim view of that. Henry Hasid, I don't think intentional contact, but it still had the effect of knocking Nicholas Salens around and down to third place. And hopefully there'll be no damage to the tail of the KTM. These cars, like every modern racing car, sensitive to aerodynamic balance. And if the splitter at the back, the rear venturi, have been damaged in some way, splitters are at the front, Martin, rear venturi have been damaged, then that may harm the airflow of the car. And that has all sorts of knock-on effects, as well as losing a little bit of grip. You start to work your tyres more than you would like to. And it can also hamper extracting hot air from underneath the car. And that tends to lead to a little bit of engine overheating. The KTM's engine behind the driver. So Nicholas Salens, you saw the AMG Mercedes team with Stefan Rosina waiting to take over. The grid for race 1 was set by the bronze-rated drivers, driver 1 in each of the cars. They're the ones who have started the race, and their other driving partners will take over. Challenge here for second place, and around the outside goes the KTM of Nicholas Salens. So he gets back up to second ahead of Jörg Wiebahn. Wiebahn down to third in the first of those 2 Mercedes. Still behind him is Mauro Ricci and Peter Gerlinks. So Nicholas Salens, the Belgian driver, now with his tail up. 1:38.5 last lap. That was the one in which he had to recover from the spin. And leader Henry Hasid did a 1:33.4. Salens been warned about track limits. Hoping that wasn't because of the spin. Looking at a little battle further back. This is Aurelius Ristica ahead of Stefan Rattel and Hubert Trunkenpolz. There is the Porsche with the white-nosed Audi, and there is the KTM of Hubert Trunkenpolz behind with the black roof. And here comes the challenge for third place. The Audi flashing the headlights. Peter Gerlings not able to get through into turn one. That was more in anticipation, I think, or more in hope than anticipation of something happening. Mauro Ricci in the blue and white Mercedes looks pretty happy in fourth place. Hasn't been able to really get onto terms with the silver car in front of Jörg Fiebahn. Goes out very wide on the turn into turn three. Stewards aren't going to like that too much, I don't think. 2.25 minutes until the pit lane opens, so it won't be at the end of this lap, it will be at the end of the next lap, the earliest opportunity to put your car into the pit lane and swap drivers. There's a mandatory stationary time in the pit lane that everybody must obey, and that is for purely safety reasons, to make sure that there are no dramas with getting the car's seatbelts done up and so on. And then there's extra time to be added. Jan Krebeck, RTR Projects, who is still in the pit lane. He has the most penalty to serve. Not penalty to serve, the most extra time added on. True Racing, number 16 car of Klaus Angerhofer. He'll have to serve another 10 seconds. And the other penalty for a top three finish in race 2 in Monza was for Manthey Racing, who are not here. So that is immaterial. So it's actually only the number 16 car from True Racing that will serve a longer pit stop. The yellow and black Audi, you can see there, the number 1 car of Peter Gerlings and Stenis Longin. That will serve an extra 10 seconds, so they'll be stationary for 125 seconds. There's replay of contact. And lots of drivers being warned about track limits. Hubert Trunkenpolz also being warned about track limits in his KTM. That was not that KTM, but again, there's the replay. And I'm afraid Henry Hassid just either Nicolas Salins braking a little earlier than Hassid was expecting, or Hassid just outbraking himself a little in his urgency to have a good exit out of turn one. The real drama there is that the stewards will probably take a fairly dim view of that. The incident has been noted, and in 20 seconds the pit lane will be open. So it looks as though the leaders will have come across the line. Oh no, 30 minutes remaining now, so the pit lane is now open. Minute 20 of the race, and immediately you can see cars going in. That's very, very swift work. So Henry Hassid, Nicolas Salins, Jörg Fiebahn go by, but Mauro Ricci and Peter Gerlings, you saw ducking into the pits immediately. So Mauro Ricci first to pit to hand over to Benjamin Ricci. That is in that blue, in the black True Racing. In the blue, I was right in the first place, Mercedes. And then behind them, in come Peter Gerlings, Aurelius Rustica, Stefan Rattel and Hubert Trunkenpolz. So that three-way battle, you can see coming down the pit lane as they were on track. Henry Hassid leads from Nicolas Salins. Jörg Fiebahn stayed out. So driver change ongoing here at the number 5 Ebi Motors Porsche. These are the two Lithuanians, Aurelius Rustica and Mantas Janavicius, helping his partner out. So drivers stay clear while fuel is added. There is the exhaust bottle, if you like. Colours of Lithuania on the car. So fuel going in, and then the driver change can be completed. Earth strap removed, and the engine must be off during refueling, otherwise there will be a penalty. So we had two cars that stayed out. Henry Hassid, Jörg Wiebahn. Oh, I beg your pardon. Klaus Angerhofer stayed out as well. He's now up to third place overall. There's the 88 car. Stefan Rattel has handed over to his silver-graded driving partner, Mattia Di Giusto. So as all drivers who are registered for FIA championships or registered with FIA licenses, they're all graded bronze, silver, gold or platinum. And that's aside from a Formula One super license. Now then, so 88 goes out ahead of 5. So there was a change in the pit lane. Extra time added to the stop for the number 1 Audi, to the number 18 car as well. This has an extra 5 seconds added to its pit stop. And LP Racing car number 67, that is Henry Hassid and Anthony Beltoise's car. They had an extra 7 seconds added. So when they come into the pit lane, Nicolas Salens is in now. So Henry Hassid and Anthony Beltoise have completed their change. Here's the battle on track. This is Mattia Di Giusto in the Audi, and he was battling there with the Porsche of Mantas Janavicius, both fresh into the car. Janavicius, like his teammate Aurelius Rustica, is a bronze-rated driver. Mattia Di Giusto, there is Janavicius. He's got by Di Giusto in the Audi. Di Giusto is a silver-rated driver. So it's a good move right out of the pit lane by Mantas Janavicius, the Lithuanian, clearly very fired up. And the number 5 Porsche, the Ebi Motors car, now back up in front, taking the place away that he lost earlier on. So in the pits still Jan Krabek. Stefan Rosina heading out of the pits in his KTM. But Henry Hassid, Jörg Wiebahn stay out. Benjamin Ricci, fresh into the blue and white number 61 Mercedes, has got a purple first sector on his first flying lap. Stanis Longin and Reinhard Körfler in the number 1 Audi and the number 17 KTM Crossbow, both also with best first sectors of the race for their cars. And Henry Hassid and Jörg Wiebahn have now headed in. So they were first and second. The Pro-Am leader, Henry Hassid, also the race leader, and the Am leader, Jörg Wiebahn, in that silver and turquoise Mercedes. And that leaves Klaus Angerhofer out front. So there is Angerhofer. Spun round in the first corner in the number 16 KTM. So there's the Mercedes of Jörg Wiebahn. Jörg will hand it over to Austrian co-driver Mario Placuta. Placuta making his debut in the series. And the two of them are one of 4 crews that are eligible not just for Pro-Am and Am honours, but are also battling for supremacy in the tactfully named Iron Cup. What's the Iron Cup? It is for crews where the total driver age exceeds 100 years. So total age in 3 digits. We have 4 of those crews. The number 7 Halp Racing Mercedes, the number 16 True Racing KTM, Klaus Angerhofer is currently our race leader in that car. The number 18 True Racing, LP Racing Audi, and that is Michael Doppelmayr and Pierre Caffer. And Anthony Beltoise and Henry Hassid in 67, their Audi also contending the Iron Cup. So 911 in the pit lane. Leonardo Gorini taking over from Nicola Gomar. As again, we're looking at the battle between the number 5 Porsche and the 88 Audi. Mantas Janavicius and Matteo Di Giusto. Janavicius jumped, having lost a spot in the pit lane, jumped immediately to get back in front of the Audi, but as they stream past the commentary position and start another lap, it looks as though the battle remains very much alive. Klaus Angerhofer finally comes into the pit lane in the number 16 KTM Crossbow, and the race leader is in. And Anthony Beltoise then should retake the lead. Reinhard Koeffler now on a charge in the number 17 KTM. He's down there in 8th place, but he has just set the fastest race lap. Koeffler, an experienced GT racer. So the Pro-Am car may well be moving up the order, 4 seconds behind Steiner's Longin. And actually Longin, and ahead of him Stefan Rosina, not far off the pace of the man who's chasing them. There's the number 7 Mercedes, Mario Placuta. So Benjamin Ricci should take the lead in the blue Mercedes. In the pit lane is number 16. We saw Klaus Angerhofer staying out a little later. And Klaus will hand over to Sadie Sarmini, the all-Austrian duo. Here's a good side-by-side battle. 911 Porsche on the outside. Is he going to make the move round the outside? Whoa! And as is so often the case, out onto the loose and around he goes. Leonardo Guarini gets himself going without being hit, but loses another couple of spots as Mario Placuta and... Oh, that's not the Mantas Janavicius and Matteo Di Giusto battle going by. They stay behind him. And Pierre Caffa rejoining, or joining the race in the number 18 KTM. Number 18 Audi, rather. Started by Michael Doppelmayr. And he is working his way up the order. So Sadie Sarmini leaves the pit lane in number 16 KTM. That should leave us with Benjamin Ricci out front in the blue Mercedes. Looking here at the battle for what is currently 9th place, but should perhaps be 8th, Mantas Janavicius. And there you can see the 67 Audi. Well, there you can see the replay of Leonardo Guarini looping around as he runs out of traction. Oh dear. The number 7 Mercedes of Mario Placuta having to go the long way around the outside to avoid him. So as we settle back down, it does look as though Benjamin Ricci is our race leader, but the pit stop for the number 61 blue Mercedes is under investigation. So there is the leader in the blue and white Mercedes, and right behind with the black and orange roof is the number 15 KTM. And that's the car started by Nicolas Salens, and that is Stefan Rosina now in 2nd place, driver from Slovakia, and another very experienced GT racer in all sorts of different disciplines. Spent quite a while racing in the Porsche Super Cup, among others. Anthony Beltoise in 3rd place at the moment. And Anthony Beltoise has long history of racing in SRO events. Back last century, a quarter of a century ago, he was racing here at the A1 ring as it was then, having been reopened and remodelled from the old longer Österreich ring. Racing here in the FIA GT Championship. Beltoise still racing under the SRO banner. Son of Grand Prix racing great Jean-Pierre Beltoise, a man who spent a lot of time in GT cars. Anthony Beltoise in 3rd, just ahead of Steiner's Longin, and Reinhard Koeffler up to 5th, ahead of Sedi Sarmini. But the leaders, Benjamin Ricci and Stefan Rosina, coming towards the cameras right now. But still no news on what might or might not happen to the Henry Hassid Anthony Beltoise number 67 Audi after Hassid turned around our early race leader, Nicolas Salens, in the True Racing KTM. Car number 16, car number 15 rather, there it is. And that car, Nicolas Salens has handed over to Stefan Rosina. And Rosina now in second place, which is where the car stopped, but behind a different leader at that stage. Leaders come across the line with just 0.8 of a second between them. And the brand new Mercedes-AMG GT2 ahead of the KTM. Audi third with Anthony Beltoise and fourth with Steenes Longin. Then Reinhard Koerfler ahead of teammate Sedi Samani. They are fifth and sixth in the two KTM Crossbows. So at the moment we've got top 5 Pro-Am cars, and the Am leader in 6th place overall is Sedi Sarmini, with Mario Placuta, Leonardo Guarini and Mantis Janovicius behind him. So got 4 Am class cars altogether. Then Matteo Di Giusto and Pierre Caffa are the Pro-Am drivers. And Krabek in the pit lane and has completed just 2 laps. So that was the first race lap and into the pit lane at the end of it, and 1 exploratory lap after what the team had hoped would be some remedial work, which seems to have ended in disappointment, to say the least. So did not complete a flying lap in this race, the Am points leader. There is Reinhard Koerfler, car number 17, and he is still closing in a little on Steenes Longin in front of him. Fastest race lap of Anthony Beltoise in 3rd place, but still 15.5 seconds behind the leaders. And he's got close company from Steenes Longin. So there is that battle. Beltoise ahead of the yellow and black Audi of Longin. Black and white flag being waved to Matteo Di Giusto, warning him about track limits. Turn 10 is one, the final corner is one that will be very much being policed, as it was in qualifying. Quite a few laps in both qualifying sessions lost because of exceeding track limits at turn 9 or 10. The 2 downhill left-handers, turn 9 the Rindkurve, and turn 10 the final corner on the track. And also turn 3 and turn 1 particularly will be policed. Down through 9. There is the pit lane entry out of corner 9, down into corner 10. If you take too much curb at the apex, you run out very wide over the curbs there. And there's not much grass before you get to the grandstand on the exit of that corner. You can be in a big wide-eyed moment if you run out too wide over the curbs. Benjamin Ricci and Stefan Rosina just 6-7 tenths apart. There is the race leader in the blue Mercedes ahead of the KTM, and then it's an all Audi battle for 3rd place, 15 seconds behind them. Beltoise and Longin. Ooh, just running a little wide, running a little deep, carrying a bit too much speed. So is Benjamin Ricci starting to overwork his tyres, or are they starting to give up a little? 61 Acodis ASP Mercedes of Mauro and Benjamin Ricci leading here. They have kept their noses clean so far. Beautiful day for spectating at the Red Bull Ring. These races part of an enormous historic racing weekend here. All sorts of stuff from spindly little single-seaters to Can-Am behemoths. It's actually a glorious-looking paddock aside from the supercars of the SRO GT2 series, the Fanatec GT2 European series. Started gaining traction as more manufacturers produce suitable machinery. It's all about factory racing, non-factory racing here, but you need the manufacturers to produce the cars for the customers to buy and run. Benjamin Ricci and Stefan Resina gap right down now to not even a car length for the lead of the race. So Resina with just 12 minutes on the clock, deciding now perhaps that it might be time to try and make a move on the Mercedes. Stewards making a note of an incident for the number 7 Mercedes. That's the silver and turquoise machine. That was started by Jörg Fiebahn and now handed over to Mario Placuta. Not sure that we saw what happened in the pit lane, but that has been noted as well. So maybe some post-race penalties handed out. Leaders still nip and tuck. Benjamin Ricci ahead of Stefan Resina. Nothing in it at the moment. They come across the line once more. 24 laps in the books. Resina showing his nose, but definitely not close enough to make a challenge there. Now, does he get a good run out of turn 1? He does. Here we go. He's got a really good run up behind the Mercedes. The battle for third comes across the line behind them. But Resina, not quite enough there. The Mercedes has just enough in a straight to keep his nose in front up to turn 3. Resina again. The mid-corner to exit speed of the KTM is better than that of the Mercedes. It looks like a more wieldy tool in the corner, but the Mercedes just gets his nose in front and keeps going. Excitement behind as we watch the race leaders. Stefan Resina trying hard to find a way past. Doesn't manage to do so. And trouble for Mattia Di Giusto and Mantas Janavicius. There was contact, it seems, between the two of them in the final corner. Di Giusto coming past the pit lane very, very slowly. And that has elevated Pierre Caffa to 9th place. Meanwhile, the leaders continue. So Anthony Beltoise and Stinus Longin remain locked in the battle for third. Yellow flags are out at turn 1. And more warnings about track limits for this time the number 17 car of Reinhard Koffler. So waved yellows at the start line. Leaders are on their way past. And still a yellow flag there on the way up to turn 1. Here at turn 3 though, no dramas. Stefan Resina chasing Benjamin Ricci. And then Beltoise and Longin, and then Reinhard Koffler in 5th. And he's pulled away from Sedi Sarmini throughout his stint. Pierre Caffa in 7th ahead of Mario Placuta now. So still got yellow flags waving at the start-finish line. That's the view back towards turn 10. So there'll be no overtaking at turn 1. Mantas Janavicius comes past us, and he's lost 30 seconds. But Mattia Di Giusto is overdue. He is a long way back. Anthony Beltoise in third place. As we watch the leaders, Beltoise has just set another faster lap for his car as he tries to creep away from Steeners Longin, but Longin right behind him. Leader under pressure, and the safety car is out. Okay, well there is the 88 Audi pulled off at the side of the circuit. Well, we've not had notification on our timing screen that the safety car is out, but the safety car clearly appears to be out and has waved by the number 5 Porsche. So that's Mantas Janavicius, and has now picked up the leader. 7 minutes remain. And that is going to blunt the challenge of Stefan Rosina. Now, Mantas Janavicius continues. Mattia Di Giusto has been pulled behind the barriers. So we might be at the situation where we get to go racing again quite quickly. Now, yellow flags at turn 6 as well. And that will be why. So that is Mantas Janavicius, I think. So that is the Porsche in the gravel, and that is why, well, that is half the reason why. The other half of the reason is the Audi of Mattia Di Giusto, which possibly might need a little bit of rescuing. But Anthony Beltoise, Steeners Longin, Reinhard Koerfler now in the safety car queue. So that's your top 5. Ricci in the Mercedes, Rosina in the first of the KTMs, then the Audis of Beltoise and Longin, and Koerfler in the second of the orange and black KTMs. He's in 5th place, and they're being joined now as the queue grows. Behind Koerfler is Sedi Sarmini, and then Pierre Caffer. Now, if they go green with a lap or so to go, Caffer on the back of that queue may have a chance to make up a place or two. It'll take 3 or 4 minutes perhaps to rescue the Porsche of Mantas Janavicius from the gravel, and there are only 5 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock, as you can see. So we may possibly finish under safety car. You can see in the background of the shots the tractor going out to collect the Porsche. So that gives you a good indication of the geography here, doesn't it? This is the view from over turn 1 across the valley to turn 6. They're very close together. In fact, turn 2 and turn 6 very close together indeed, because from turn 4 through 5, 6, 7 and 8, it's a very tight little loop that sort of backs up to the cut through from the first corner to turn 3. And from turn 1 to 3, that is the newer part of the circuit, cuts out the old Ostkurve and the eastern loop of the original Österreichring, which was opened in the late 60s. It was shortened to be reopened in the 80s as the A1 ring. '90s, I guess it was, as the A1 ring, and then that then begat the Red Bull ring. And since Red Bull have become the owners of the circuit here, it has had some substantial investment. Nothing to change the geography of the track. That remains very much as it was. And why wouldn't it? Rolling hillside here. It's in the foothills of the Styrian Mountains. It's a beautiful location for racing. It's one of the joys, I'm sure, for the drivers in this Fanatec GT2 European Series. They start their season in Monza, at one of the world's greatest Grand Prix tracks. And the next track on the list is here in the Red Bull Ring. Then they head to Dijon in France for round 3. Portimao, Valencia and Paul Ricard. So a good combination of entertaining circuits. And again, number of tracks with which the SRO organisation has very long links indeed. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Safety car in this lap, we are being told. So that will be green-white checker. We'll have 1 lap at the end of this before the time runs out. So 50-minute race, mandatory pit stops all safely completed, no dramas there. Little question mark over the pit stop of the number 7 and the potential, there was one other car as well, had a potential issue in the pit lane. And then the Henry Hassid incident at the start of the race with Nicolas Salens. Not at the start of the race, but early in the race in the first part. So we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Henry Hassid then handing his car over to Anthony Beltoise, who lies 3rd at the moment. The 67 Audi, black and gold car, in 3rd spot ahead of the yellow and black Audi in 4th. That is number 1 car of Longin. And then Reinhard Koeffler in 5th. Behind Koeffler in the next KTM is Sadie Samani, then Pierre Caffer's Audi. So lights should be off on the safety car any moment now. There's a minute on the clock. So if the leader starts the last lap, then we should be racing for 1 more lap. They come out of the final corner with 40 seconds remaining. And away we go once more. Here we go. Last chance saloon. Here comes the number 1 car looking up the inside. Longin cannot get through. And a spin from the number 7 Mercedes of Mario Placuta on the last lap. That's not great news. So Placuta loses a spot, but here comes the number 1 car. Longin can't get around the outside. No, he doesn't, but running out wide on the curbs is the black and gold Audi. So again, we might see a change here. Anthony Beltoise in 3rd place. It is all up for grabs in the battle for 3rd, and Longin down the inside and through from 5th place. It goes Reinhard Koeffler. Koeffler up to 3rd place, and a big mistake from Longin in the yellow and black car has cost him more than it could possibly have gained. Battle for the lead is on as well. Stefan Rosina all over the back of Benjamin Ricci. It's a single lap race. This is carnage. Longin down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th position, I think. Timing and scoring won't keep up with this. But I don't think Rosina's got what it takes to grab the lead from Benjamin Ricci. Down from 9 to 10. Ricci leads. Rosina's coming. Checkered flag awaits. Time has run out, and it will be victory for Benjamin Ricci from Stefan Rosina. Reinhard Koeffler takes 3rd place in a dramatic single lap finish. Fantastic stuff. And behind them, Anthony Beltoise finishing in 4th, and Pierre Caffer up to 5th. Well, you give him half a sniff, and Caffer will try and capitalise. And for Stanis Longin down, I'm afraid, to 8th place from 4th, almost 3rd, and just ran out wide. Well, that was a dramatic way to finish the race. always worth trying to get that final lap in. Very, very entertaining right at the end. So our Pro-Am winners, 61, that's Marco and Benjamin Ricci. 15, which is the KTM of Nicholas Salens and Stefan Rosina. And in third place is the number 17 KTM, Hubert Trinkenpolz and Reinhard Koffler. And in the AM class, victory went to Sadie Sarmini in the number 16 KTM, ahead of 911 Leonardo Guarini, who shares with Nicholas Gomar, who started the car. And third in AM, Mario Placuta, the number 7 car. That was started by Jörg Fieban. So lots of entertainment, lots of excitement, and the teams are heading towards the podium. Congratulations. Okay, there's always one. So don't forget your trophies. Which brings us to the podium for the AM category. Good luck trying to listen to this. In third place, in the number 7 Haupt Racing Mercedes, Jörg Wieban and Mario Placuta. All right, we need to prepare a little bit more champagne. So the iron category winners in AM were also the overall winners, which makes life a lot simpler on the podium. Okay, we are ready to go. In third position then, from Haupt Racing Team, Jörg Wieban and Mario Placuta. And in second place, in the Ebi Motors Porsche, Nicola Goma and Leonardo Gorini. Congratulations. Which brings us to our AM winners. From True Racing, the drivers of car number 16, Klaus Angerhofer and Sadie Sarmini. So, a great recovery from a spin in the very first corner to victory. Congratulations, well done. And they are also our Iron Cup winners. And the anthem of the winning team, True Racing, as our top 3 receive their podium trophies. Congratulations to all of our drivers. Victory and Iron Cup victory as well for Klaus Angerhofer and Sadie Sarmini. And the national anthem of the winning team, True Racing. Congratulations, gentlemen. You can feel free to keep the champagne for later or enjoy it now. So another close finish to the race with that safety car. And for Klaus Angerhofer and Sadie Sarmini, fantastic recovery from last in the first corner to first in the last corner. And that is it for the podiums here for race 1. We'll be back for race 2 this afternoon.
Meine Damen und Herren, wir steigen wieder um in Richtung Qualifying, Touring Car Open und Youngtimer über 3 Liter Hubraum. Da ist auch die KTM, die wir gerade am Podium gesehen haben, noch von der Fanatec GT2 wieder vorne mit dabei. Momentan schnellster Rupert Atzberger mit 1:30,277 gefahren in der letzten Runde. Und damit ist er gleich einmal um 4,5 Sekunden fast schneller als der zweitplatzierte, ebenfalls KTM GTX Mike Drift. Wer immer sich da dahinter versteckt, der muss erst ermitteln. Ich darf es eh nie sagen. Geht mir beim Max Grip auch so. Obwohl ich mit dem Herrn an und für sich ganz gut befreundet bin, aber ich darf nicht sagen, wer wirklich heißt.